all ribbons and marks in the Teal Mask and Indigo disc. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC Ribbon Guide by SirToastyToes. As the last couple of times we had the ribbons pop up, I do like his UI over on the right. I'm going to make sure to move on to the left side for him.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLCs are finally both out. And with it, we've got some new developments in the world of ribbons.
Okay.
Before we begin, if you're considering purchasing Scarlet and Violet's DLC, you might be interested in doing it through today's sponsor, Buy. Buy is a proxy service that allows you to buy anything from Japanese shopping sites like Mercari and Yahoo Auctions Japan. Because Nintendo Switch game cartridges are region-free, you can even buy cartridges like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with the Teal Mask and Indigo disc DLCs included for less than they would cost here in the US.
Interesting.
And if you're considering doing a ribbon challenge of your own, Pokemon's Generation 8 has backwards compatibility through Pokemon Home. So you can pick up Pokemon Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Legends Arceus all in one convenient package from one site.
I've honestly been looking at some of these, especially if there are boxed versions. I know I need to pick up a Sword and Shield copy because I have the base games, but I need to pick up the copy with the DLC in them. So I need to go pick those up still.
If that wasn't enough, you can save even more by using my affiliate link in the description in order to save 10% on your first purchase when you sign up. First
I
up,
liked it.
let's take a look at...
I'd give it a 9. I think it was a little early. I think that it was ultimately a good length. Sponsor we've seen previously. Ad read was great. Audio was consistent. Visuals made sense. Clearly used it. Relevant to the audience from what content we're watching. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I liked it.
the roster of returning Shadow Pokemon who can still visit every game on the Nintendo Switch with new ribbons. I would like to reiterate that any Pokemon can be a Ribbon Master, as a Ribbon Master only needs to get the ribbons it had a chance to get, no matter where or when you caught them, or if they were cut from one of the Switch games.
Thus, if you try to catch something in Generation, say, 8 or 7, right, and you don't have access to, you know, it being purified, you're not going to get penalized for that because it takes that into context.
I have also seen some people worried that they won't be able to do this challenge from Generation 7 and before when the 3DS online services are shut down in April.
Yep, that's the one.
Poké Transporter and Pokemon Bank are confirmed to be some of the few titles that will still be usable after the shutdown.
For now.
And as of now, no shutdown date has been announced by the Pokemon Company. I would still recommend starting your challenge now if you're concerned, but I just wanted to assuage some common fears that I've been seeing online. Now that we know who's in the DLC, let's go over some changes to the existing ribbons and marks. First up, the Paldea Champion ribbon has been made slightly more difficult, as once you complete the final chapter of the story and catch Terrapagos, the trainers in the Academy Ace tournament will be at higher levels, and some trainers like Gita have had their teams rearranged to have improved synergy.
Sure.
Also, while we're in Mesagoza, there's a few new developments with the world of size-marked Pokemon. Pokemon that are marked XXS or XXL and display the message "It's huge" or "It's tiny" will be granted their respective size marks in Mesagoza when transferred from Pokemon Go. The scripted Alpha Zoroark, Overquill, and Goodra that were bugged in Legends Arceus to be average size are now corrected to be the maximum. So if yours didn't receive its Jumbo mark, it can be fixed by depositing it and then withdrawing it from Pokemon Home. The shiny Munchlax rewarded for clearing the hardest difficulty of Ogre ousting in Kitakami is guaranteed to have the maximum size, and by extension a Jumbo mark in addition to its Crafty mark. This is the only Pokemon that is guaranteed a size mark in the DLC, however. All gift Pokemon, almost all in-game trade Pokemon, as well as the static legendaries including the Loyal 3, Ogerpon, new Paradox Pokemon, Terrapagos, and any legendary Pokemon from Snackworth's Shiny Locked Snacks are all locked to the average size.
I still need to do this. I'm going to have to hop in on stream at some point and finish out the Indigo disc because I have to do the 4 challenges and like that's it. I haven't like had the brain power to actually have to do them. I don't even know how hard they are, if they're hard.
Curiously, specifically Times Rockruff is given a variable size from 48 to 207, but this will still never result in a size mark. There is also an upgrade for the lock-on feature that the player can purchase by sending 200 BP to the Photography Club from the leaked computer. Once purchased, wild Pokemon that are marked will display an icon when locked onto.
Amazing.
And if the Pokemon is below or above average size for their species, it will display an icon as well.
Small.
Unfortunately, this icon doesn't guarantee a mini or jumbo mark, as it simply displays if the Pokemon is anything other than the average size.
Right, which is
Since
fair.
our last check-in with Paldea, one of the 4 unobtainable marks has been released from the clutches of the Galar region.
Item Finder?
While there are still no locations around any of the maps that can have the harsh sunlight weather condition required for Pokemon to spawn with the dry mark, there are a few specific spots around Kitakami where the game will switch over to the ever-elusive foggy weather, which can only be found in these out-of-bounds spots on the map. Back in Paldea, there are no foggy locations where Pokemon can spawn, but some of these misty areas in Kitakami have just enough space for wild Pokemon to spawn within render distance. And weather marks don't take into account the weather where the Pokemon spawned, but rather the weather the player was experiencing when the Pokemon spawned instead. And this finally allows the Misty mark to return from Sword and Shield. As a weather mark, this one is decently common. About a 1 in 14 chance to spawn on a wild Pokemon with the relevant type level 3 tidal power. Though this mark is still unobtainable except on wild Pokemon that spawned with it, it is an oddity worth mentioning, and leaves us with only the dry, curry, and fishing marks as completely unobtainable in Scarlet and Violet.
You do have the ability to send it back to Sword and Shield, though, which, once again, we enter the problem of needing to invest in other games outside of the current game to get things, but if you're, I mean, it is still within the Switch and Pokemon Home, walled garden, right? So that one I'm less harsh on, if that makes sense. But we do start treading on the logic of, just go RNG manipulate, a shiny Litten in Gen 7 5-head, right? Like, okay, but does somebody who just got into Pokemon after the Switch came out, right? Maybe Scarlet and Violet was their first game. Do they necessarily have access to that? Like, conversations ensue at that point. I'm gonna hand wave that to the side.
Speaking of increasing your odds for finding marks, the Indigo Disc finally reintroduced a very useful tool that you'll want to have if you plan to obtain a wild marked Pokemon for starting your Ribbon journey, the Mark Charm. Reprising its role from Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor DLC, you can obtain this item from Director Serrano by showing him a completed Blueberry Academy Pokédex. Luckily, the raid event exclusive Paradox Pokemon Walking Wake and Iron Leaves are not required to obtain your reward.
Cool.
The Mark Charm, very similarly to the Shiny Charm, provides 2 additional rolls at obtaining a mark on any given wild Pokemon.
So we know that Paradox Pokemon aren't legendary, right? I mean, we've confirmed it's just, Pokemon from the past and the future. They're kind of quote-unquote rare, right? But, like, we have in the Paldean Crater, right? Depending on your version, we have, like, Iron Bundle walking around, Slitherwing walking around, right? Some are more rare than others, right? Iron Valiant, a little bit more rare on average at base, kind of like your Fluttermane is, right? You just got to know where to look. But, certain things like Iron Hand spawn a lot more. Certain things like, try to remember because I haven't gone through Scarlet in a hot minute. But like some Paradox Pokemon were common, right? Like Miraidon and Koraidon are, yes, the box legendaries, but they're just Cyclizar from the past or future, respectively. So I don't know. It's kind of odd that, like, I guess I was expecting something more like the Ultra Beasts from Generation 7, right? Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I was expecting something more along the lines of those where you could go back into an Ultra Wormhole and catch another Guzzlord, or you could catch another Pheromosa, or Kartana, which was everywhere in Gen 7 VGC, right? So, yeah, that's definitely one of those strange ones. Psycho Ducky, hi, thanks for the follow, and thanks for the bits, appreciate that.
When you combine this effect with the additional 3 rolls provided by the level 3 tidal power from sandwiches, this gives you a total of 6 rolls to obtain a mark, drastically boosting the odds of finding marked Pokemon. You will still need to put in a bit of work if you have your eyes set on a particular mark that isn't the ironically common uncommon mark, or one of the time of day related marks. But this item is a boon to anyone looking to find some unique titles on their new Pokemon.
Right.
Now with all the returning marks out of the way, one more mark was finally patched with the release of the Teal mask, which many commenters were quick to tell me about as soon as the DLC dropped.
Right.
The item finder mark has been fixed.
And this is what we were talking about in the last one, where in chat someone was clarifying that it is now available. So this just required the DLCs.
Luckily, you don't need to purchase the DLC to obtain one. You just need the patch that came out with the Teal Mask DLC. And Professor Hassel can finally keep his job as we have a new mark to collect. Like the Partner and Gourmand mark, this is earnable on every Pokemon that can enter Scarlet and Violet. And also like the other two, it's a random chance each time you trigger its award method. Like the partner mark, a Pokemon has a 1 in 100 chance to obtain an item finder mark, but thankfully it gives you a roll of the dice every single time your Pokemon picks up an item on the overworld via Let's Go mode. It makes no difference if it's an item ball, a sparkle on the ground, or even a TM, so long as your Pokemon is the one to pick it up. Even if you have 999 of that item already and it can't go into your bag, you still have a shot at getting the mark.
Okay, I like that.
A few places that make for good item finder mark hunting are Area 0 in Paldea, the Paradise Barrens in Kitakami, or the Savannah biome in the Terrarium, as these are all flat open spaces with lots of items and minimal obstructions for your Pokemon.
Right.
Speaking of which, some Pokemon are not quite as fast as others, which means they'll take quite a while to make it to each item. If your Pokemon is particularly slow and doesn't fly or swim over water, have them follow you into a lake or river while in Let's Go mode, which will spawn an inflatable raft that will ferry them around. Be careful not to bump into any wild Pokemon, as that means you'll have to go back to land to respawn your Pokemon. Waterways have quite a few feathers floating around, and the raft will move as fast as your ride Pokemon if you're not dashing, which can speed up your hunt quite a bit.
That's interesting.
After a bit of cleaning up, Toast earns an item finder mark and brings the total to 95.
Okay. We're approaching
Unfortunately,
the 100.
while it would make a lot of sense for the new Pokemon League and Blueberry Academy to have a new champion ribbon and finally give us a ribbon from the Unova region, it seems that the only new ribbon in the DLC is the partner ribbon. Also unfortunate that this ribbon is not obtainable on existing Pokemon, making it more like an event ribbon or mark, like the Classic Ribbon or Mightiest Mark. Partner ribbons are attached to every in-game trade that you can partake in around Blueberry Academy, and there's quite a variety of Pokemon to choose from. How you initiate trades varies depending on the trainer. The gym leaders, teachers, Paldea Elite Four, as well as Clavel and Gita all require you to invite them as special coaches using BP. Once you've battled a special coach at least once and talked to them on 3 separate invites, either by waiting for them to leave after a day or by inviting new coaches to push them out, they will offer to trade you one of their Pokemon. The partner ribbon is unique among ribbons as it has a variable title depending on who you traded it from, attaching the original trainer's name as a title. Some of these Pokemon, like Magnemite, Magby, and Combee, would make for great ribbon Pokemon with their unique bonus ribbon, as they can collect every other obtainable ribbon on the Nintendo Switch.
Interesting.
But for now, that's all there is for the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero DLC. On the cusp of 100 ribbons and marks, we'll just have to wait and see what Game Freak has planned for us next, and await Toast's next journey. And thanks for watching.
I honestly really love that this continued, though. Like, I love that there was more substance after this, after the initial, like, grats. We brought this from Pokemon Coliseum all the way up to Gen 8, and then we always had the Gen 9 base and then Gen 9 DLC updates, which was honestly, it was super cool to see. I love seeing progressions like this, and I honestly get a lot of enjoyment out of it because just, I don't know, Pokemon progression, interconnectivity, I mean, it's all hard-baked into the franchise itself, so it's been really fun to watch certain things like this. But that ends the journey of every ribbon for now, until we get, either champions or either we get, Gen 10, whatever that might be. And I mean, if anything, I mean, you can argue that there's definitely a lot of content out there to do. A lot of content you can go through, a lot of ribbons to earn. Be able to do something new, right? Do something new in regards to going out there and trying those contest modes that the games end up pushing. Back in ORAS we still had them, but I digress. Thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoyed this. A little bit of a shorter entry on this one, but honestly, this was really cool to be able to see. This was really cool to be able to really look and see where we are, getting caught up to current, and hopefully maybe this got some people to really take a look at it and go, you know what, I want to do this, and you want to do the thing. But thank you for watching. Really appreciate it, and I will see you all in